The design method I suggested in a book on city as landscape employed a range of structural patterns. They were classified as natural, human, aesthetic, and archetypal. As the names imply, they relate to natural processes, social processes, aesthetic processes, and the timeless experimentation which Christopher Alexander saw as the origin of his pattern language. Hoping to take Alexander's ideas forward, the title of my essay in which the method was explained was "A City is Not a Tree, It is a Landscape." I wrote that the list of aesthetic inputs that can lift the designer's purview from trees to landscapes included geometry, mathematics, decoration, representation, mythology, symbolism, allegory, metaphor, abstraction, philosophy, poetry, music, and narrative. In this podcast, I'll say more about music, but do so with the caution that, much though I love music, I am not a musical person. Anyone who has heard me sing "Happy Birthday to You" would agree with this. Still, I'm going to discuss some of the ways in which music can help with some of the problems designers face. I hope others will correct me when necessary and take the suggestions forward. Vitruvius, writing 2,000 years ago, was the first theorist to argue that designers should have a knowledge of music. He considered it necessary for tuning the sinews of siege catapults. Since then, others have written about how music can influence the visual arts. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe is reported to have declared in 1829 that "I call architecture frozen music." The origin of the dictum that music is liquid architecture is uncertain. I see landscape architecture as liquid, like music. Also, because it is dynamic, its results are in constant evolutionary change, more so than a piece of music played by different performers. Landscapes flow. Let's start with the aims of landscape design. Usually, clients have an open space type in mind when they commission a landscape architect. They may, for example, ask for a public park, a public square, a theme park, a campus, a woodland, a forest, a lake, a meadow, a greenway, or a private garden. Garden types can also be classified. They include the flower garden, the vegetable garden, the water garden, the spring garden, and the herb garden. Typologies are useful. They let us find precedents. They hint at design character, and they parallel musicologists' discussion of categories and subcategories. For music, a genre is a conventional category that identifies some pieces of music as belonging to a shared tradition or a set of conventions. The major categories include religious music, art music, pop music, country music, folk, rock, jazz, and soul. There are landscape design types which parallel these categories, and, I suggest, their designers could be inspired by listening to music as they do their design work. Data mining and computer analysis, which are now widely used to classify music, could be extended, perhaps, to landscape design types. Music is also classified by mood. This relates to the emotional reaction music produces in listeners. It is a psychological classification and, for music, is usually done using the graphic model produced by Robert Thayer. He uses 2 axes and classifies songs by lines of energy and by stress. The axes run from happy to sad and from calm to energetic. This allows a range of moods to be included. The YouTube music library lets one select music by mood as well as by genre. The moods include inspirational, calm, dramatic, romantic, happy, funky, sad, bright, and dark. Landscapes can also have these qualities. Well, having dealt with the easy aspects of music, let's move on. Landscape design centres on the design of outdoor space. Trees, buildings, landforms and water bodies are merely ways of defining and containing space. Yet the space has no form. It is abstract. As the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu put it, though clay may be moulded into a vase, the essence of the vase is the emptiness within it. In a 1928 essay on space, time and music, Whitcomb Hess wrote that in savage times, rhythm, whose biological significance gives it unique power over the emotions, is the one element of importance. In dance tunes and popular music, rhythm is an important element even in the most artistic music, where it directly controls the mood. Melody, which obviously introduces the thought element, is equally essential. Harmony, showing as it does the mingling and blending of many tones to the enrichment of melody, shares honours with the two former principles. Schopenhauer, a 19th century German philosopher, wrote that music is perceived solely in and through time, to the complete exclusion of space. Yet we speak of music going up and down, or high and low, and of musical intervals being small and large. These are the same metaphors which landscape designers use to describe the spaces they plan. Ground is said to rise and fall. Enclosing elements can be high or low. As one follows a path, the space can evolve from small to large. On occasion, musical composers draw inspiration from landscapes. The Moldau and Fingal's Cave are famous examples. So there is every reason for the procedure to work in the other direction, from a musical composition to a spatial composition. I'd like to hear more from designers about unity, harmony, melody, and rhythm. Garden designers sometimes work by choosing features, including plants and furniture, and let the resulting space be whatever it becomes. Good elements do matter, just as a good musical instrument matters, but the really important thing for both arts is good composition. And this depends on rhythm, colour, timing, instrumentation, and so forth. I'll finish this podcast with an example of a beautiful piece of music being used effectively as a marketing tool for what I see as a misconceived design project. I'm thinking of David Adjaye's design for a Holocaust memorial and information centre in central London. As a building, the design may have merit, but if built, it would be a blot on the landscape of the Palace of Westminster, Victoria Tower Gardens, and the River Thames. The music, which is Attar Arad's Caprice No. 3, Bela, is sad and beautiful. Here's a short clip, and you can listen to the whole piece on Spotify, on YouTube, or on the designer's presentation. The problem is that the Holocaust was not like this. It was horrific. Victoria Tower Gardens today has an air of cool romance, but is also, as it should be, a gay public space to which parents bring their children, office workers bring their lunch, and political interviewers bring their interviewees. In a video about the Holocaust Memorial Project, I used musical clips to explain how it would change the emotional character of the public space. Here's the first clip, which is tense, dark, and threatening. And here's the second clip, which is gentle, playful, cinematic, and, I believe, represents the appropriate design character for Victoria Tower Gardens. For landscape projects could use music to help explain the character they want their space to have. And designers could use music to home in on the emotional character they are designing. Emotions matter, and music communicates emotion.